Hello friend, how are you? Welcome to Tripan Study Center. Today we are going to do the chapter of social science and highlighting each and every point of it. Let's see what is our topic today. British impact on society and culture. The British impact on society and culture. Indian society underwent many changes after the British come to the India. Indian society underwent many changes after the British come to India. In the 19th century, contained a social practice like a female infanticide and child marriage and sati belongings and a religious caste system become more prevalent. That is important. The 19th century British come in India, there are a social practice like a female infanticide, child marriage, and sati programming and religious caste system become more prevalent. And this practice bear against to human dignity and the value. The women were discriminated against at all stages of life and were the disadvantaged action of the society. They did not have access to any development opportunity to improve their status. Education was limited to a handful of men belonging to the upper castes. Brahmins had a success to be Vedas, which were written in the Sanskrit. An expensive rituals, sacrifice and practice after the birth or death were outlining by the prescribed classes. When the British come to the India, they brought a new idea such as liberty, equality, freedom and human rights. From the resonances, the Reformation is a moment, is a various revolution that take place in Europe. There are resonances and reformation of movement. There are various revolutions that take place in Europe. And this idea appears to be some action of our society and lead to be several reform movements in a different part of the country. At the forefront of this movement were the visionary Indians such as Raja Ram Mohan Rai, such as Ahmad Khan, Aruna Asaf Ali, and Pandita Ramabai. There is a most important social movement control on this period time here. This movement looking for the social unity and strive to about to the liberty, equality, and fraternity. That is important. The money legal measure to the were introduced to improve the status of women. There is a most important effort here. The Raja Ram Mohan Rai. The Raja Ram Mohan Rai, for example, the practice of sati was banned in 1829 by the Lord Bantrax. There went to Governor of General on this period time. And with this remarriage was permitted by the law passed in 1856. A law passed in 1872 is a sanctioned intercaste and intercommunal marriage. And so the act was passed in 1929 preventing the child marriage. The act provided that it was illegal to marry a girl below to the 14 and boy below to 18 years. All the moments while there is their caste system, especially their practice of untouchability. There is a most important moment on this period time, and there is a most important social evil on there is there. The impact of effort made by this is numerous individual, reform societies and religious organizations was felt all over the was most evident in the national movement. Women started getting to better education opportunity and took up the professions and public employment outside their home. The role of women like Captain Lakshmi Sehgal of Indian National Army is a INA and Sarojini Naidu, Annie Besant, Aruna Asif Ali and many other very extremely important in freedom struggle. Here show the most important picture on your screen. The Captain Lakshmi Sehgal in the middle front row and other INA cadres is the Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose is the left front of the row. There is the most important here, Captain Lakshmi Saigal, human there is achievements all of the goal on this period time. The next year, social and culture policy. Social and cultural policy. The British had come to be India with the idea of making immense profit, and this meant the buying of raw materials at a very cheap rate and the selling finished good at a much higher price. The British wanted to the Indians to be educated and modern enough to be consumed they are good, but not to be their extent that is proved to the detrimental of British interests. There is important a social and cultural policy. Some of the Britishers believed that a Western idea were a modern and superior, while the Indian ideal were all the inferior. And this was, of course, not a true. Indian had a rich traditional learning that was still prevalent. By this time, England was a group of radicals who had humanistics and analogy to about the Indians. They wanted India to be a part of the modern, progressive world of science. But the British government was continuous in the undertaking rapid modernizations of India. There are modernizations of India, and they fed to the reaction among the people if too much interference took place with their religious belief and social customs. The English want to the perpetuation of their rule in India and not a reaction among the people. So there is talking about the introducing reform in relatives very few measures were taken and this were also half-hearted. The next year education policy. The British took a keen interest in the reducing their English language in India, and they had reasons for going so. There is the British took keen interest in the introductions of the English language in India. That is important. Introducing their English language in India, and they had a many reasons for the going so. Educating Indians as a English language was a part of their strategy, and the Indians would be ready to be work as a clerk on the low wages, before the some work in the British would be demand a much higher wages. This is would be reduce the expenditure on administration. It was also expected to be create a class of Indians who were loyal to the British and were not able to be related to the India other Indians. And this class as an Indian would be tough to appreciate the culture and opinions of British. In addition, there would be also help to be increase the market for British goods, and they want to be use education as a mean to be strengthen their political authorities in a country. And they assume that a few education in India would be separate English and culture to be masses. And they would be able to be ruled through his class of educated Indians. The British give a job to only those Indians who know the English, thereby to compelling many Indians to go in the English education. And education soon become a monopoly of the rich and city dwellers. That's important. The British Parliament issued a Charter Act of 1813 by the which a sum of rupees 1 lakh was sanctioned from promoting Western sciences in India. But a controversy soon arose, and some wanted the money to be spent on advocating the Western idea only. There were others who is a place more emphasis on traditional Indian learning, and some recommended use of vernacular regional languages as the medium of instruction, and other were English as the medium instruction, other were English. In this is a confusion. People have failed to be notice the difference between English as a medium and English as a subject for study. The British of the course and decided in the favor of teaching Western idea and literature through the medium of English language alone. Another step in the direction was Wood's Dutch of 1854. It asked the government of India to assume responsibility for the education of the masses. As part of directive given by the Woods, Dutch and Department of Education were instituted in all our provinces and is affiliated to the university were opened. In Kolkata, Madras, Mumbai in 1857. The many colleges opened by in this period of time. There is a Kolkata, Madras, Mumbai is 1857. As a few English school and colleges were opened instead of many elementary school. They ignored their education of the masses, but in the relative it was not sufficient to be chattered to be need of the Indian people. Through the British followed a half-hearted education policy in India, English language and Western idea also had some positive impact on the society, and many reformers like Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Swami Dayanand Saraswati, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, and Swami Vivekanand absorbed the Western idea of liberalism and democracy and used it to reform some of the non-humanitarian social and religious practice of the time. Thought the education did not reach the masses, but some idea of anti-imperialism, nationalism, and social and economic equality took root through the politically parties and discussions and lived on the public platform and this the press. The spirit of English language and Western education helped Indians to be adopt modern and national, democratic, liberal and patriotic outlook. A new field of the knowledge in a science, humanities and literature open to them. English became the legal franca of the educated people in India. It united to them and gradually made them to politically is a conclusion of their right. It also gave opportunity to the Indians to be study in England and learn about their working of democratic institution there. The readings of Jones, Locke, Ruskin's, Mill, Rosales, and many others installed in them to the idea of liberty, equality, and fraternity and human right and self-government. The French and the American Revolution and the unification of the Italy and Germany further strengthened there is the appreciation of this idea. And converse Garibaldi and Mazarin become there is a favorite horses and they began to spread for this idea of for India. Western thinker like a Max Muller's and Annie Besant is encourage the vernacular language and literacy work to be installed instill a sense of pride in Indian heritage and culture. Is embellished Indian to be revised Indian as a culture past and also the important role of praise in arousing to the political awakening and exchange in the idea in a noteworthy. The newspaper and journals give opportunities to be share idea and problems. Similarly, novels, drama, short story, poetry, song, dance, and theater, art, and cinema were used to be separate, view, and express the resistance to be chronicle rule. They spoke the language of people and showcasing there is everyday lives, joy, and sorrow. Along with the newspaper and journally, they promoted their feeling of self-confidence and self-respect, awareness, and patriotism, thereby developing a feeling of national conscience. That's important here. The British is a devised the several strategies to be make their rule effective. They allied British administrator in like India like Warren Hastings, William John, Jonathan and Duncan and the other glorified Indian as ancient past. And this scholar and administrator were called to the Orientalist. There is a Orientalist that is called. And they thought that is a better understanding of Indian language, literacy and culture would be make it easier for them to rule of India. And important institutions that is come to be identified with there is a fort where Calcutta, Madras and founded by the one Hastings in 1781 and the Raष्ट्रीय Society of Bengal founded by William John and 1784 the Sanskriti College of Banaras founded by the Jonath Deccan in 1794 and fourth William College founded by the Wesleyans is the 18th century and this institution, especially the Asiatic Society and Fort William College, become a epicenter of the study of the Indian culture. Their Fort William College become the epicenter of study of Indian culture and language and literature. That's important. For the first time, great ascent Sanskriti, written like a Kalidas, become now to be a word through their translation of their monumental work into English. The next layer, impact of reform movement. Impact of reform movement. How did the social religious reform movement lead to be national movement? Did the social religious reform movement lead to the national movement? The persistent is effort for the reformers had an immense impact on the society. The religious reform movement instilled in the mind of Indian greater self-respect and self-confidence and pride in their country. And this reform movement helped many Indians to become to be termed with the modern world. The reformer felt that is a modern idea and culture could be a best embedded by the integrating them into Indian culture stream. And they helped other countrymen to be appreciate that all the modern idea were not against Indian culture and value. The introduction of modern education guided the Indian toward the scientific and rational approach to life. People become more confused of their identity as an Indian, which is ultimately responsible for their united struggle against the British in the freedom movement of India. There is the most important here impact of reform movement in the India. There is an important scientific and rational approach to be life on this period time and a struggle against British in the freedom movement of India, impact of reform movement. The next year, British administration and judicial system. The Indians found it difficult to be adjust to be new system of administration introduced by the British. The Indians were denied political right and British officers treated them with the contempt. Indians were excluded from all higher position in the civil administration and military. That is important. The British also introduced a new system of law and justice in India. A hierarchy of civil and criminal code was established on this period of time, and the law is codified and attempts were also made to separate the judiciary from the executive. Efforts were made to be established the rule of law in India, but this only helped the British to enjoy arbitrary power and interfere with the right and liberties of the Indians. The law court were not easily accessible to the common people, and justice became a costly affair. The new judicial system also discriminated between Europeans and Indians.